Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Shootin' the Shit. I am your host, James P. Madonna of Mega Life 21 Live, and I had no idea we were going to do so many episodes to this Shootin' the Shit series. I mean, it's really great. I want to welcome my co-host doing commentary, Mr. Jeff Zambello. The Commodore Jeff Zambello is here. Hey, Ronnie S. What's going on, Ronnie? Johnny Ringo is here. Johnny Ringo says Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey are fascist trash. I hope President Bernard Sanders breaks up big tech. Let me tell you, Mr. Johnny Ringo, you have no idea how much I despise the well, this is Pinocchio, but the eagle beak, the hawk nose Zuckerberg, the hawk nose geek, the member of the tribe, if you know what I mean, the tribe. I despise him, and I despise the dildo-headed Jeff Bozo Bezos too, that slave driver. You know, I think Mark Zuckerberg, the reason why there's so many glitches on Facebook Messenger and on Facebook itself is because he probably hires young computer programming interns to work for free. They might even be outsourced, but I think they're interns because he's a cheap, miserly piece of shit. It's what the fuck he is. Big tech is indeed fascist. Right on, Johnny Ringo. Jeff Zambello says. Ronnie S. says, I love shooting the shit. Big schnoz, schnozola, Zuckerberg. Now, I want to let everybody know, even though this is a different tittle, the tittle of the show, if you know what I mean, is everyone's favorite shot glass. Incidentally, the bikini top is wearing off, so it will eventually become a topless shot glass with nipples. And speaking of shot, I will pour, because it's going down, like some Glen Silver blended Scotch whiskey. All right. Only $12 a bottle. A mere bag of shells. And we will be doing a very special Shootin' the Shit. I mean, not Jeff Zambello, but, you know, he's more than welcome to join us. But myself and Damian Owens will be doing a special, very risque, sleazy Shootin' the Shit, all about sexual fetishes. Yes, you heard it right. It will be all about sexual fetishes. And I will post the link to join that show right on the private chat group Alpha Males, which is on Facebook. And there's not too many alpha males around, believe me. Okay, we got Jeff Zambello says, what do Amazon employees get paid minimum wage? Well, there's a lot of disgruntled Amazon employees because they don't pay any taxes. You're right. They've been on a tax vacation for many decades. I think Ronald Reagan first started the tax vacation on the elite, the top 1%. I think he might have started it, but I like, my favorite Republican is Dwight Eisenhower, the prosperity years during the 1950s, when the middle class got all the tax breaks and the very rich paid most of the taxes. Because even though they paid most of the taxes, guess what? They're still living high on the hog, like Boss Hog. The rich are still rich. But when the middle class are hurt, forget it. The whole country goes down the tubes. Because the middle class, and I will toast the middle class, are the backbone of our society, the true consumers, the real job producers, Main Street, small emerging growth companies, professionals that put their shingle outside their office, individual professionals like CPAs and such, physical therapists, whatever, acupuncture, whatever your passion is, and also mom and pop stores. Main Street, America is the middle class. Here's to the middle class. Ronnie S says, I like risque and sleazy. Well, Ronnie S, I can't put the link on Jay Tirio's page because he will have a fit. But the link to join Alpha Males is in the description of this show. So you're more than welcome to join. Gabriel Solias is a member, as well as a bunch of others. It's not for the faint of heart. That's why many people I know quit. Excuse me. James, is that apple juice you are drinking? Because a friend of a stick shifter from JFK Airport might call you a bully. Are you a drunk and a bully? I know what you're talking about. It's an inside joke from the fitness group, the International Brotherhood of Pollyannas, old school, drug-free, safe fitness, honoring the martial arts, all sorts of exercise, and what do you call professional wrestling. Yeah, it's an inside joke. No, it's liquor, but I'm not drunk. Now, I want to start by doing, Jeff Zambello says, what about tinted window and door buzzer establishments in the back alley of a father-in-law's centrifugal torque training, whatever, CCT gym? Yeah, you're talking about the man who owns the Long Beach Kettlebell Club, who's married to a very cute Japanese girl, and he looks like a very unattractive leprechaun with teeth missing. How some men snag good-looking girlfriends and marry them is beyond me. A woman's taste is very mysterious, very bizarre. No logic involved. Like I see it, they say. I was watching some the dating and relationship coaches on YouTube and the experts, and they said that a man's mind is based on a logic, where a woman's mind is based on emotion. But what emotion can you conjure that's positive about an ugly motherfucker? I mean, if somebody is an ugly, now this ugly motherfucker, when I lived in Lodi, New Jersey, after I told the truth and came to his defense and Mr. Mace Man's defense, I defended the both of them because they were getting screwed by their business partner, who happened to be female and very short with a Pollyanna complex, like almost like a midget. And she was part of the tribe, if you know what I mean. And she was making them do all the legwork, selling merchandise for the company, and she wasn't paying them. She was pocketing the money. And this person is a cheap, low rate singer for an indie circuit heavy metal rock band. She has a voice like a munchkin from the Wizard of Oz, from the Lollipop Guild, and she was stiffing. At that time, they were my friends. So I came to their defense, and what did I get? The short Irish guy that owns the Kettlebell Club calls my house and leaves a nasty, long voicemail cursing me out because I publicly exposed the member of the tribe, the female business partner that they had. And I came to their defense, and that's what I got. That's what I got. I got cursed out for it. Orange pube hairs hiding a 3-inch nub. Yeah, what's his name? Little Jack Horner's joke shop or novelty shop. Alfred E. Newman. Johnny Ringo says, Alfred E. Newman. You mean Pete Buttigieg? He does look like Alfred E. Newman. Hey, from Mad Magazine. What about Pete Buttigieg's wine cave, where only the elite, only people with big mega bucks are allowed in there? The private wine cave with all those big donators to Pete booty ass Jig's campaign, which means he owes them big favors. When you accept huge campaign donations, you owe huge favors in return if you get elected. You know who I hate? I hate that shaky nasal voice, extremely annoying Amy Klobuchar, the gun-ho radical feminist, the feminazi Amy Klobuchar. A woman could do anything. I am woman. Yeah, right. My ass. Yeah. Like equal pay for equal job. Meanwhile, some places where I used to work, the women would go, with their manicured fingernails. Excuse me, could you please be a gentleman and come over here and help me lift this and put it on the top shelf? I said, why? You have seniority here. You're making actually more money per hour than I am. Why the fuck should I help you? Buttjism. Jeff Zambello says, hey, Johnny Ringo, I call him Buttjism. Oh, man, gotta love it. Gotta love it. But anyway, 7 lucky bells for the evil spirits. Ed Norton's bell. Oh, Thelma, can you please enter the dining area? With my coffee, I would like 2 lumps. And then Thelma goes, you keep ringing that bell and I'll give you 2 lumps. So anyway, we're going to talk about fanatics. Now, there are people Jeff Zambello says, oh, Amy Cloud Bootjar. Cloud Bootjar. You ever hear her talk? It's like nails across a chalkboard. She shakes her head. She's got the nasal voice. I can't stand her. You go, women can, what do you mean a woman can't win? And the long gooseneck, fake phony fraud Pocahontas, phony Native American there, Elizabeth Warren. Bernie says a woman can't win. Well, I got news for you. It's not time yet for a woman to win a presidential election. Donald Trump will eat either one of those females alive in a presidential debate. You remember when he was circling Hillary Clinton like a bull shark? He will get into their heads and use psychology. The woman, with their emotion, they're going to be spazzing out, man. If they ever was in a position to debate a man who's ruthless, who knows all the tricks, they wouldn't last. It's not time yet. It's not time yet. They have to shake all that feminist crap, all that man-hating feminist neoliberal bullshit, and before they can be accepted by men and actually have a high voter turnout. So anyway, getting back to fanatics, there are people on social media that I will give them credit, honestly. They have hobbies and interests that happens to be their passion. There's nothing wrong with doing things that you enjoy the most. Nothing wrong at all. But most of these people, or some of these people, are not well-rounded individuals. If you bring up any other subject, they refuse to discuss anything else but one thing, their hobby. There are people in the craft beer community that do that. Some people just talk about golf. It could be any hobby or interest, any passion. They only talk about the same fucking thing day in and day out, nonstop. It's boring, boring. Like Joanne Worley from Laughing. It's boring. I respect well-rounded, diverse people. The world and the universe and life is not just made up of your hobby. So there are people like that. And oh, by the way, a little controversy. Ronnie S. Last Friday, during Fandango Friday, Ronald J. Tirio said he was exhausted from a Knights of Columbus event that took place Thursday evening. And that's why he forgot to send me the link. But he sent you the link. What do you think? You think anything gets past old James? No way. I'm like Jeff Zambello, my buddy. We have street smarts. Street smarts, right, Jeff? Trump will eat Joe Biden for lunch, not just the females. Oh, you talking about touchy-feely, creepy Uncle Joe Biden, who wants to challenge everyone to do push-ups? Trump will eat him like Jeff has a biscotti with his espresso coffee. He will go crunch, 2 bites. But there's one thing that Trump admitted many times. He's fucking afraid of Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders will destroy him or anybody. Any of those corporatist Democrats, those Democrats, he's surging in the polls. Trump, Trump, Hillary Clinton, these are how do they say autocratic society. These are puppets of the oligarch, and some of them are smart, and some of them are just puppets and not so smart, and some of them are crazy like a fox. They want you to think they're stupid and naive, but they're puppets just the same. They owe their soul to Satan, and in this case, it's the oligarch. But all of Bernie Sanders' donations are from regular people. He refuses to take any donations from the fat cats, and I respect him for that. So anyway, people are suffering worse than ever. The job market is pathetic. The economy is pathetic. It really is. It's horrible. My sister has a very impressive resume, and they won't hire her because she's overqualified. She's overqualified, which means they don't want to pay her. They'd rather pay some kids fresh out of school. That would screw everything up. That would slow everything down in the office. You have to teach them, you know, the company software, whatever. You have to train them. No, who has the time to train these kids out of school? So they won't hire a seasoned veteran. You know, it's really pathetic. Establishment Democrats would rather lose to Trump with Biden than win with Bernie. Yeah, because they're corporate whores. That's why. He posts the link on the Google Hangouts, I think you used to be part of. Yeah, until Eric Fraunfelter pissed me off for the dozenth time. Johnny Ringo, there is a big fat tough guy who sits in Dunkin' Donuts all day long and will tell both of us that, hey, there are ladies who work here. This fatty Arbuckle told us to shut up. Yeah, he wasn't even a manager. So women, see, this is the double standard, hypocritical double standard of the man-hating feminist movement. They want equal pay for equal job, but when it comes to society and a social life, interacting with others, they want special treatment. I'm progressive, but I'll tell you one thing. I admit I'm a socialist, but I'll tell you one thing. I refuse to pander to any lobbying group. I will not take a back seat and go to the back of the line and let any lobbying group go ahead of me or cut ahead of me and get special treatment. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was told many years ago by an employment caseworker that worked at the unemployment office there. There's a program called Workforce. It's really bullshit. It's bullshit, really. It's total bullshit. They give you no more than $4,000 to go back to school. They told me that I can't apply for many programs because I am, number one, Caucasian. Number two, I don't have any children. Single white male with no children. They said if you were a single mother of color, then you qualify for everything. Entrepreneurial cash, much higher amount of money to go back to school. They'll start me up in my own business if I have the skills. All the above. So listen, I'm not a neoliberal. I'm a truth seeker. I believe in science. I believe that truth shall set you free, brother. And there can only be one proven truth if you have the facts to back it up. And that's all I care about, is the proven truth. I think, Ronnie S. says, I think Sanders is actually genuine and believes what he says. Unfortunately, he's a socialist. Well, hey, Jay Terrio says that too. I don't believe in free enterprise because what happens is the middle class carries the tax burden and the poor get fucked. The poor, if you don't have money, you die. The corporations don't believe in the minimum wage, so that means the poor, the unskilled will get what, $2 an hour? $1 an hour, and then they will bring back slavery in a heartbeat. So it'll be like the 19th century. Oh, by the way, Jay Terrio was wrong about the 19th century. He says there was social programs to help the poor. No. In the 19th century, if you did not have money, you died. You simply dropped dead. The only thing you had was your local church, which can't even survive on its own, and your friends and family, which have limited or next to no cash. Nobody's going to bail you out in the 19th century. He's wrong. And he says, oh, the socialist pinkos. Let me tell you something. If you're rich, pay your fucking taxes and shut your fucking mouth. That's it. Or leave the country, because the ability to amass that much wealth is a privilege. It's not your, I mean, it's not, it's a right if you're successful. It's a right. But to be in a country that allows you to hoard that much money, you should be paying your fair share in income taxes, and not the middle class. Yeah, no, you die. You don't have money in the 19th century, you die. See, there are people out there that forget to send James a link to be on Fandango Friday, which he invented. Okay. There are people who are out there who are considered right-wing evangelical religious zealots or freaks. And no one has really proved that their God exists. Let's be honest. So it's all based on faith, which is hope. Okay. There are people that want to force their beliefs that are unproven on everyone else. Well, before you can, first of all, you don't have the right to force anything on anyone, because this is why the European settlers came to the New World. This is why the Puritans left England, is because they wanted to escape persecution. But anyway, we got off topic. Love Tulsi. Tulsi's cool. Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah, I like her. Hey, James, why not become transracial and transgender and reapply? Now, if someone was, if they were, well, what the person said was, if you're a female, didn't even say male, forget about the guys, forget about the dudes. If you were a female of color, you qualify for more social programs, including job training and cash to start a business. All right, if you're female and a kid, forget about it. If you're a female of color and have a child, you qualify for everything. And that they said, because you're a single male Caucasian with no children, you qualify for shit on a stick, basically. But yeah, if you're a transgender of color, you would probably qualify for a friggin' a colony on Mars or something. You would qualify for everything. Yeah, that's pretty clever. If America becomes socialist, then it won't be any need for a lobbyist. Jesse Ventura said that a politician is not technically obligated to meet with any lobbyists. So they meet with lobbyists because they have their hands out. They're going to get paid off, and they know it. But as a politician of any kind, you do not have to meet with lobbyists, because lobbyists, they have a selfish agenda, and they're usually sent by some scumbag's CEO that wants special favors because they gave astronomical campaign contributions. Now, the fanatics there are also, besides fanatics out there that not only want to force their ways on other people, but there are also sycophants and Pollyannas. Now, sycophants are ass kissers, brown nosers, but often a sycophant can be a Pollyanna. Now, Pollyanna is the most nauseating person of all because they refuse to give their honest opinion and feelings about anything because they're afraid of offending someone, sort of like the corporate fascist censorship of the community standards of social media. They're so afraid of someone getting offended that everyone has to walk on eggshells. So the Pollyanna is like Barney the dinosaur. Remember that retarded purple dinosaur? I love you, you love me. That's what they are. Everybody's wonderful. Everything is beautiful. And it's so. Remember that nauseating song? Made me throw up every time I heard it. That and You Light Up My Life by Debbie Gibson. It gave me such nausea. Yeah, and they Pollyannas think everything's wonderful. Oh no, he's not a bad guy. Oh, wait a minute, you told me in private. I know people like this. I'm not just like trying to be funny. Oh, yeah, but you said all kinds of negative things about the person privately. Now you're typing in public on social media, and you won't say a discouraging word against that person. So you're not being honest. You're being insincere. You talk shit behind their back, but when it comes to coming clean and confronting them, they'll never do it. These are the worst Pollyannas because they're hypocrites. Okay, back to commentary. I think Bernie is a sensible choice for non-interventionalists or even libertarians. Yeah, what's that guy named? Joe Grogan? Joe Grogan just endorsed him. The one that did a show with Jesse Ventura. I think his name is Joe Grogan. It's the first time I ever heard of him. I hear he's extremely popular. Even libertarians, he would end the wars and would stop arming Israel and Saudi Arabia. Yeah, the despot leaders. Netanyahu is a racist. The Saudis are lunatics. And there was never any weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And Iraq had nothing to do with the 9/11 attacks. Most of them were Saudi. Ronnie says, with the exception of maybe like one or two of them. You know what these are? These are never-ending wars for profit. This is the military-industrial complex. They do it to make money, and they make money by exploiting the lives of middle-class and poor families' sons and daughters. Okay, like what happened during the war with Halliburton and Dick Cheney and all that. Yeah, that's what it is. And why does the United States need like 800 military bases around the world? It's not to keep the peace. It's to occupy countries to steal. I have a strong hunch to steal their natural resources. In this case, oil, big oil. It's an invasion. It's an occupation. There's no reason to spend all this. There's trillions of dollars in taxpayers' money on all these military bases. There's no reason for it. The only time the United States was really threatened, the last time was World War II, when there were German U-boats right out off the coast of the U.S., actually off the coast of New Jersey, and the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. Okay, the only time the U.S. was um, actually threatened. Okay, so think about that. The rest, in Vietnam, what is it, the Gulf of Tonkin bullshit and all that? I mean, it's just wars for profit. Uh, and he would hold one of the three branches of government, so it would not be an overnight move away from capitalism. We would move toward social democracy, maybe. Well, the most successful system is what they have in Scandinavia. Um, the Now, I agree with Damian Owens in one respect. I agree that Americans should not ever have their firearms taken away from them, because this is our protection, we the people, against a rogue government. Okay. But I am all for the very strict, in-depth, universal background checks. But I'm not for disarming American citizens, because we outnumber the elite, we outnumber the oligarch, and we have to protect our ass. If we have something good going on, like a government that works for the working man, for the people, we have to protect that. So untapped potential, yes. The Mr. Pinocchio is back on TV. Everyone in this room, you, Johnny Ringo, you have untapped potential. Jeff Zambello has untapped potential. So does Ronnie S. Yeah, he's back. Yeah, she is a. You know what? I bet she would be very athletic in bed. Tulsi Gabbard. You can do the whole Kama Sutra with Tulsi Gabbard. She'll be 69 a year and banging her real hard, doggy style. I mean, I appreciate an athletic, physically fit woman. I like women with muscles, especially the what do you call those, Jeff Zambello? The Kegel muscles. The ones that where a woman exercises them and she can tighten her vagina and squeeze your schlong, el schlongo. I like Tulsi. Friggin' hottie from Hawaii. Tiny bubbles. Hold on. Hubba, hubba, hubba. When watching her on television, I turn off the volume and just watch as I train with the shake weight. There you go. The shake weight, Jeff Zambello. Like on South Park, where the cannoli cream comes shooting out. How come no one ever did a fitness seminar with the shake weight? I've never seen that before. That fizzled out. That's supposed to be called dynamic inertia. Like, remember the body blade, the blade that you move it back up and down and it flaps. Yeah, dynamic inertia. Johnny Ringo says, Jeff Zambello, I once saw a shake weight competition video. Never again. Were there girls using the shake weight or just dudes? Jeff Zambello says, Johnny Ringo, that is funny. I like sick stuff. Makes my belly ache from laughing. Makes my belly ache from laughing. This is an invigorating shooting the shit show. But, I think that people that are religious, fanatical freaks, I think people that are zealots have a lot of skeletons in their closet that they're hiding. Anytime somebody overdoes something and gets too melodramatic, it could be a politician giving a speech, like Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, the shaking nasal Amy Klobuchar, and the one who dropped out, Kamala Harris. Notice how melodramatic they are, like they're showing off. The same thing with religion. Every church has zealots. In the Catholic Church next door, there's a Philippine woman that during prayer in front of that huge congregation, that huge church, she gets on her knees on a hard tile floor and throws her arms straight all the way up in the air like it's a Wi-Fi antenna to God. Now, Jesus said in the Bible, that's the Bible, but I you know, he said that people should pray in private. It's between you and God. You shouldn't make a public spectacle out of it. But people that make a public spectacle out of anything are hiding something. They have lots of skeletons in their closet, and I would love to flush them all out. Any zealot you hear out there, anybody who's a religious zealot that doesn't allow risque adult humor on your show, or cursing on your show, and announces to all your guests that this is my show and I am the host of this show, and keeps reminding everyone of that, are hiding something. Okay, here we go. Shake weight. No. Okay, Jeff Zambello says, Licky tells everybody that they have untapped potential, but no ice cold spring water. I'm going to bring everyone up to speed about this. On my in 2012, I created a bunch of pages and groups on Facebook. One of them is drug-free, safe, old school physical fitness and martial arts and such. There are people in the alternative physical fitness world that decided, even though they do not have any credentials in their background, they have no bona fide academic accredited certificates or diplomas, that they have the right to travel the country and the world doing seminars, charging people several $100s to $1,000 a head, and teaching an ancient exercise tool that only has maybe a few basic moves to it. Just like with a kettlebell, there's only a few basic moves to the kettlebell. And in this case, it's a mace, or as the Indians call it, a gada. It has to do with torque. You know, you can use a sledgehammer with a wooden handle. You know, you can use anything with a weight at the end of a pole. Now, they don't have credentials, but somehow they decided that they love circular training and they have a passion for it, and they studied it. They studied how to do the exercises and they practice, but they don't have credentials to teach anyone, to be a personal trainer or a consultant. Most of them don't have anything like that. Very few do. They exist. Very, very few do. So they think they can get people to part with their hard-earned money and bullshit them by filling up 3 hours of time with stories and jokes, and just you know, come out with make-believe exercises, just as make up these ridiculous exercises that you can do with a mace, and overcharge people, and then later on disrespect them behind their back. Because why? Because these are carnival pitchmen. They're charlatans. They're carnival snake oil, infomercial type people that are sleazy as a car dealer commercial or a local politician. And they have no conscience. They're almost like a sociopaths. A sociopath feels no remorse. So this individual that I know is that we know, Jeff Zambello, myself, is really a forklift operator in a warehouse. And now, because of his his pleasant voice and skinny mustache, and he's very tall, and he has a big Cheshire cat smile. He was able to dupe people. Now, a right-wing capitalist that believes in free enterprise, like Jay Terrio, would say, well, let the buyer beware. Oh, yeah, so that's an excuse to rob people. No consumer protection, no regulations, just, everybody goes out there willy-nilly, tries to make a fast buck. I still haven't forgotten that he remembered to send you the link, Ronnie, but he forgot to send me the link. But anyway, thank God that I'm the host of the shows that I do. Okay. No one may fish in my ocean. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Maceman does not want anyone else to fish in his ocean because he is the master of the universe according to him. Jeff Zambello says, elbows up, elbows down, and most importantly, keep your hands together. That will be $799. Yeah, that's pretty much how I just explained it. They don't have the credentials to give these seminars and charge almost $1,000 a head. They go ahead and do it anyway. I think it's a fad. I think people that interject a lot of sales hype in a sport that could have gone back thousands of years, which this does. Circular training goes back thousands of years to ancient Persia and India. And the mace was used as a weapon worldwide by all cultures, even the South Pacific Islanders. They all use a form of mace. The Native Americans had a mace. Europeans, of course. Everyone had a mace. And that's where the Indian club, the Persian, the Indian Jori, the Persian clubs, and the steel mace, it all derives from the weapon mace. So it is an ancient sport, but they've taken the ancient sport and they turn it into like an infomercial with a lot of sales hype. It became a fad. And who kisses the ass of these people? All the sycophants, or groupies, if you want to call them groupies, the sycophants. And if you say anything that's negative that just happens to be true, they say, oh, you're toxic, you're negative, no, you're a Pollyanna and you're a sycophant. You're a brown noser, and it's that simple. And there are, getting back to the fanatics, there are people, like, let's say, it could be any hobby, but let's just say the beer community, the craft beer community, where all they'll talk about is craft beer. If you mention anything else about anything, they might say one or two words to you and they'll quickly change the subject. Excuse me. Minnesota Fats, Jeff Zambello says, Minnesota Fats went into the wrong restroom and broke the toilet with the low flow faucets. How does a fatty Arbuckle break a toilet away from the wall? Well, it must have been a very obese person, because at the buffet I go to, the Royal Hibachi Buffet, I do see obese people in there. And it had to be an obese person. And obese people have a tendency to have body odor, because I guess it's a big job for them to bathe. I have a better idea. Why don't they just eat normally, and not eat so much shit? You ever that show, the what's it called again? The Big Loser, or The Big Loss, or it's about obese people trying to lose weight. The world's The Great Loser, I don't know. It's a reality show, and some of them drop dead. But my question is, if they're 600 pounds, who's bringing them all this garbage, all this toxic food? Some relatives and friends must be bringing this poison to the obese person. That makes them an enabler. Jeff Zambello, Ronnie S., and Johnny Ringo, they're enablers. They are contributing to the demise of their loved one. Someone is bringing them this shit because they're sure not getting off their 600-pound ass and going to the store and buying snack foods and candy and soda. Okay? They're sure as hell not doing it. Feminists down. Yes, yes. Feminists are responsible single-handedly for the destruction of all straight heterosexual relationships. And that includes all of these nitpicky, unproven sexual harassment cases where they take the woman's word for it because she's supposed to be treated special. Instead of equal, she's treated special. So they take her word for it and they fire the poor man just because he gave her a compliment, or maybe he asked her out to dinner or lunch and he got fired. Yes, they hate men. They're jealous that they don't have a pair of testicles and a schlong. They're jealous and they don't want to see any men and women happy together or hooking up. What was that? Is that the Grassroots that sang that song? Happy Together. Remember that? Why was a certain someone dismissed by a true black belt martial artist for stealing knowledge without giving credit? Now, that's another thing. Opportunists, or parasitic opportunists, I should say that, have a habit of picking the brains of those who know, learning from the best, and not giving credit to the people that educated them in the first place. They'll never give credit, no kudos to them. They'll turn around, they'll use other people's knowledge to make money, and they will never, ever give that person credit. There are people that we know in the alternative fitness industry that have done that. I'm going to go public and say that in the alternative fitness industry, martial arts, mostly circular torque training, circular training, no one has been unfairly taken advantage of in terms of picking his brains, like the one and only, the great Hall of Famer, Richard Army McGuire. Okay, martial arts Hall of Famer. This man was the go-to person to learn about circular training. And people that picked his brains never gave him credit. They simply turned around and made money off of what they learned from Richard Army McGuire, whom I salute with some Glen Silver Scotch whiskey. Johnny Ringo says, now we have a new movement called fat acceptance that promotes obesity. Some are in denial. Others are genuinely evil and want to continue depopulation through heart disease and diabetes. Yes, the elitists want to cull the herd. Jesse Ventura admitted it. There is a depopulation plan by the elite. They feel that we, the people, are using too much of their natural resources and food. And they want to cull the herd. Now, you remember when obese people started appearing on ridiculous talk shows like Jerry Springer and Oprah, who I can't stand, by the way. And I also can't stand those fat old feminists on The View. You know, Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, can't stand it. And John McCain's fat pig of a daughter. Yeah, speaking of fat pig, I wonder if Bristol Palin got fat up in Alaska. Anyway, yeah, so these obese women appeared on shows crying the blues, crying, we want to be accepted. They want to be accepted as an alternative lifestyle and as a genetic body type. They want to be accepted as normal. They're not normal. They're sick. They're a ticking time bomb if they're obese. It's only a matter of time that they take the great dirt sleep. You know the great dirt sleep? Remember the cartoons? They used to put an X on the eyeballs when somebody croaks. Yeah, they're a ticking time bomb. Jeff Zambello says, "How dare you have one up on me? I will travel halfway around the world to train with a tool that I despise because my elite clients prefer pretty, colorful, painted, detachable steel mace." Well, that person who refused to use an old school gata because he had rich, hoity-toity, yuppie clients in Southern California and wanted to impress them, he traveled to the Akaras of Varanasi, India, near the Ganges River, the holy river of India. And he learned from the people that were there. And he picked the brains of Pratye Singh, the great Pratye Singh. He picked the brains, just like Paul Wolkowinski picked the brains of Pratye Singh also. Paul Tear Ass Wolkowinski. They picked his brains. And this is a man, Mr. Mace Man, who said to an Indian gentleman, "I don't care about your monkey god Hanuman." He put down the Hindu religion. He put down the whole culture. He's only concerned with making money off their ancient sport. And now he became a sycophant by kissing up to them, by flying all the way to India. I don't believe he went to do a seminar. I think he went there for an education so he can add things to his seminar to give, in his mind, give him the right to charge more money for the seminar. Pretty much so. Friggin' Trojan horse, schnub suckers from Portugal are now India and a newly converted Trojan horse. Yes, there's a Trojan horse by the name of Zé Ricardo from Portugal, now residing in Ireland, who was sent by Mr. Maceman, Rick Brown, to convince myself and Jeff Zambello to change the entire format of the fitness group and be a phony. Pretty much be a phony. Be a sycophant, be a Pollyanna, be a fake, phony fraud, just looking to get people to spend their money. And but his main mission was to get us to stop saying anything negative or derogatory about the master of the universe himself. The master of the universe himself, Mr. Maceman. He tried hard, but it didn't work. Now, Pratye Singh does not want to utter any discouraging word about Massa Maceman. And the other guy is, what's his name again? There's his friend from northern Portugal that glues cheap plywood together and manufactures clubs and sells them at a high price. And then when they get the clubs in the mail, the clubs are all cracked and falling apart. Like that Italian guy who refused to confront him. That's another Pollyanna. He refused to confront someone that screwed him over. Just like the man in Idaho, the so-called veteran that got offended, him and Paul Tear Ass Wolkowinski got offended because they charge you top dollar for a pair of what the hell were they again? 8-pound or 6 or 7 or 8-pound Persian clubs that eventually cracked. Both, what did I name it? Krakatoa and Ubangi. That's right. I named them Krakatoa and Ubangi. Remember, Jeff? Yeah. So they got offended that we told the truth. But hey, you're the consumer. You pay top dollar for them. Did they offer you a refund? Did they offer you, to send them back for a refund? Did they offer you a discount on future products, future purchases? Did they offer you like a pair of good Indian clubs as a way of apologizing to you and as a gesture of goodwill? Did they offer that? Not at all. I forgot what the company was called. I know it's in Idaho. I even forgot his name. It's been that long. But yeah, he was making the Paul Tear Ass Wolkowinski autograph series Indian clubs, like Paul Tear Ass Wolkowinski is some big time celebrity that he deserves to have an autograph series. Anything. A rice-filled burrito for only $799 and a 4 a.m. flight. Well, he was supposed to stay with us and spend lots of quality time with us in the Bergen County, New Jersey area. But oh no, he couldn't wait to get out of there. Then he tells me, I don't understand, because he has a wife and children and even grandchildren. What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with making plans with so-called friends and not abiding by it, not living up to it? Veteran-owned company. What a joke. What a joke. A man that does not kiln dry his pine. There's lots of pine in Idaho, I assume. And pine contains a high amount of sap. And you must dry it before you put it on a lathe and make anything. You must kiln dry it, K-I-L-N. And he didn't do it. And they cracked. And by the way, he gets his wood for free. He goes out in the forests of Idaho, where I think there happens to be very large mountain lions, and I think grizzlies are out there too. But he goes in his backyard. He gets the wood for free. He's originally a furniture maker, and I don't know what's going on with his business connection to that man. I don't know if Paul is still doing autograph series clubs with him. I don't know if that all stopped. I think because you're still you still click like to their pages. And you have a lot of them on your friends list, so you know what's going on. Me, I got rid of them all. I don't have any connection to any of them. Well, some of them took me off their friends list. for telling the truth. Who is the shyster Trojan horse who wants extra money to pay off U.S. Customs to accept his insect-infested wooden clubs? Mr. Connections is his other name. Well, that's the guy I mentioned before from India. He said that he recently told me that, I wonder if he's telling me the truth. He recently told me that the United States Customs law has been lifted on the requirement to fumigate any wood used to make any product in India. He said that is no more. I wonder if he was being honest with me. You know, Indians will pinch a penny so hard that both heads and tails are on the same side. You know that. So he might have been lying about that. Now, I don't know how much he charges, but I do love the wood turners of Jeffrey, the one that makes the Hanuman gadas and the very fancy Indian jewelries, more fancier than any Persian meals. They're works of art. They're works of art. I don't know how durable the wood is though. But that's the guy that told me about the fumigation U.S. Customs law. That's Pratye Singh. But he's not happy. He's not happy at all with his wood turners. I think he stopped using them because they won't make traditional conical shaped clubs. But getting back to the Fanatics, I just can't deal with the extremely boring people that talk about the same friggin' subject. They won't talk about the environment. They won't talk about science. They won't talk about the universe. They won't talk about politics. They won't talk about cooking. They won't talk about nutrition or food. They won't talk about the today's dating scene. They won't talk about anything. They won't talk about anything except the one hobby that they have, because they're friggin' lunatics. They're just fanatics. Even in the fitness industry, there are people that just talk about what they do in the fitness industry. It could be swinging the steel mace. It could be the kettlebell. It could be powerlifting. It could be, and they're like an infomercial. Way to go, big guy. Way to go. Yeah. Why was Kashi not promoted all over the eastern United States? It would have been great if the WWE pro wrestler and Akara owner would have so-called co-directed with Kashi. Well, if Kashi's seminar was a great success at Yuri's gym in southeastern Connecticut, let's say it went very well, and he was very generous for giving a pair of light Persian meals and a Shena board to every student, because the other people that do seminars don't give you any gifts of quality. They don't give you any gifts. So let's say his seminar went extremely well. Being that he flew all the way from Sydney, Australia, why not book him at other alternative fitness gyms throughout the Northeast, the East Coast, and the United States? Why not? He's already here. He already flew like maybe 30 hours on a plane from Sydney, Australia, but nobody did it. I mentioned it over and over and over again, and nobody did it. Oh, wait a minute, and I digress. Jeff St. Bello says, but I just had a shake weight. Daydream about Tulsi Gabbard. Hubba, hubba, hubba. Woo! You know, some of the news women are hot. Even though I don't watch it, Fox News has some large-breasted women that are good looking. There's a few on CNN. Who would think that you can have beauty and brains all wrapped up in one package? Yeah, there's a light-skinned black girl. She's a lawyer. Her name is, I think, Laura Coates. I think she's really pretty, hot looking. And then, but anyway, they're definitely out there. I'm sure they're handpicked. You know, I mean, out of all the females that have a college major in politics, I'm sure they're not picking the average or below average looking females that majored in politics from these universities to be personalities on a nationwide syndicated news show. I'm sure they're picking eye candy for the ratings. You know, so I'd say it's time for a little Jews harp. What do you think? Hold on. All right. Oh, so that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Are people that are not diverse, they're not well-rounded. Fanaticism. It's like, you know, when my grandmother used to say to a person, "You sound like a broken record." That's pretty much what they are. It just goes on and on and on about the same thing. It's very boring. There are people on social media definitely that are like that, and then there are those that are not. I try to engage in well-rounded, diverse conversation with some of them. Like, you know, with Thomas Metal 75, I try to engage in other conversations with the man. But apparently he only tends to converse about different subjects privately, but not on a show. On a show, everything's about beer. Now, there are people who really, maybe they don't have a a life. There are individuals out there that talk about the same thing, same hobby, and don't have a life. That's a possibility. They have nothing else to say about anything else. But then there are those that do. But if the host of the show keeps on cutting off these people and only gives them 10 minutes, just like the person's rock and roll show, he only allows 2 music videos posted and no more than 3, otherwise he removes them. And he refuses to do a show 1 minute over 1 hour. Like if the show goes over 60 minutes and someone's talking, he'll cut you off and he'll end the show. And this person, is a retired school teacher, and he doesn't allow cursing because he's a religious zealot. He told me that he's doing it to getting good with the congregation. I don't know where that's going to get him. Is he going to become like a tax exempt entity if he becomes very pious? I don't think so. But there are people out there that really don't have a life aside from their hobby. And in this case, we'll use the example of beer, craft beer and macro chemical laden, nationally advertised macro beer, which is equivalent to eating junk food. It really is garbage, and it's just good to be very well-rounded and diverse. It makes you a more fascinating, interesting human being, and it's good for the mind. Okay, James, please elaborate on how one can have a ready-made home gym with inexpensive floor mats, power bands, shuttleboard, bricks, yoga blocks, farmer's hoe, Hindu squats, Hindu push-ups, neck bridges. You know what? Having an adequate, decent home gym is not necessarily expensive at all. You can easily do it by going to any discount department store, and you can buy a pair of yoga blocks and do push-ups on them. You can go to a toy store in the children's section where they sell the same gym mats in sporting goods stores for a much higher price, but they sell them for toddlers to play on the floor. You can buy those. If you can't afford Indian jories or Persian clubs, you can get a pair of 4 or 5 pound sledgehammers with wooden handles, or a fence post maul hammer, and a couple. If you can't afford Indian clubs, you can get a pair of light dead blow hammers, they're called, and you can do the same thing you do with Indian clubs. There's something called resistance power bands that are not expensive, but many of them are, because of the crook that has his signature on them that's trying to make a lot of money. In that case, you can go to a company in New Jersey called McMaster's Industrial Supplies, and you can get industrial warehouse pallet bands, PALLET, like the pallets in a warehouse, and they are used by professional wrestlers in the WWE training camp. They were used, and a famous wrestler friend who is also a character actor and a commercial model, very successful. And now he's writing children's books, and he was a WWE star. Mr. Ken Thiessen is the one that turned me on to the Warehouse pallet bands. So I salute Mr. Ken Thiessen for that. And they work just as well, if not more challenging than the bands sold in sporting goods stores. So in answer to your question, it doesn't cost a lot of money to be able to work out to an optimal level, optimal training. Richard Army McGuire told me, if you don't have a Shenna board, get a pair of bricks, a pair of clay bricks. You know, in your case, it's probably easier, like you have a pair of yoga blocks. You can move them vertically, horizontally, vertically, any direction. So it's not expensive to be able to exercise and work out to an optimal level. And there are many ways to save money. All right, tax exempt. Do you mean cash-filled white envelopes? Yeah, that means when you get paid in cash, like a go-go dancer, and there's no paper trail, there's no social security number. So therefore, you can stuff your money anywhere you want. And it is tax exempt. Like some of these people who do exercise seminars, should I say, receiving cash. And once they get cash, the only person who knows what they're getting is the gym owner, because he's the one that counts the money, and he's the one that seals it in an envelope, a plain envelope, and hands it to the predator, should I say. And that would be money that the shyster would be hiding, and also hiding from possibly the wifey, the significant other you might be hiding it from. Hey, James, have some of the shrimp and the fettuccine Alfredo for other customers. Save some shrimp for other customers. Ha, 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 ha. Seriously, why were all of the succulent shrimp missing from the fettuccine Alfredo with calamari only? No, there was no calamari. There were super jumbo shrimp that were selfishly removed by many of the customers, and I watched them, the Muslim customers, and possibly other immigrants that I saw with brown skin, scoffing up all the jumbo shrimp from the fettuccine Alfredo, not caring about the other customers. If it was my restaurant, they would have been scolded. They should have a sign up that says, you take some fettuccine, you take some of the sauce, you take some of the broccoli, and you take some of the shrimp. You do not take all the shrimp from the fettuccine Alfredo. Also, I would get rid of all the low flow faucets in the men's room, because the men that go in there are not properly washing their hands. And guess what? My brother-in-law had diarrhea for 3 days after eating at that buffet with my sister for a few nights. He had diarrhea like every day, and he's pretty pissed off. He was cursing about it. So he mentioned viruses, bacteria, germs that could be transmitted to the to the handles of the big spoons, the utensils used to take the food, out of the tray. If people are not sanitizing properly in the men's room, maybe the ladies' room has the same thing. And then they go and they touch the handle of the spoon, and it's cross-contamination. Where's Fatty Arbuckle now? That he broke the toilet. I have no idea. But you saw it. You saw the video. I posted it on my Facebook profile. The whole toilet tank was shifted several inches diagonally from the wall. People dealing with the general public, I hate to say it, but they really are scumbags. They really are. I mean, when I worked with seafood for 10 years, I made some friends. I have to admit that. I made a couple good lifetime friends. But many of them were scumbags. That's why they're the general public. That's how it is, But when it comes to food and people having the potential of getting sick, the possibility of getting sick, you can't be nice to everybody and we're worrying about offending people. You can't walk on eggshells because you have to maintain sanitary conditions when you're in the food industry. Supervise your brats away from the ice cream station with coughing and boogers sneezing all over the product and leaving the refrigerator door open. Yes, if they left the refrigerator door open, if some fat little fucking boy, some obese little fucking boy that's being overfed, that's being allowed to become obese by his careless, irresponsible parents, if he is leaving the freezer door open of someone else's product, inventory, right? In this case, hard ice cream. If he's leaving the door open, that means one or two things is taking place. Either the parents are not there to supervise this child, number one. So the child is doing anything it wants. The little fat bastard is doing whatever he wants. Unsupervised, and or the parent is there supervising them and doesn't give a shit about other people's property and inventory. Hold on for a second. Hold on. Give me 1 minute. Uno momento, por favor. Uno momento, por favor. Oh, StreamYard broke it up into 2 parts. No. No, there's other people here. I had other people before, but you know how people on the internet are. They're here today, gone tomorrow. They're like the weather. They're like the weather. So how you doing there, Douglas Smith? My good close buddy, Mr. Damian Owens, is an expert at using the dark web. And he has personal information on you that is not in that text. He says he's going to destroy you. Don't be surprised if you're not unemployed someday and you're not the town drunk back in your hometown of Rhode Island. I would love to see that. You'll be like Otis. Was that the Andy Griffith show? Douglas Smith. Okay. Anyway, that's just the troll, Jeff Zambello. He's an infamous troll that has keyboard courage, and he likes to use many aliases, and he likes to use all kinds of underhanded tactics to take people's personal information and all that stuff. But little does he know that his employers are not going to be too crazy to find out about this. And Damian Owens is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, going to send all the information to Douglas Smith's employers. Yeah, right. Damian, believe me, just like you won't mess with Dave Coulter, because Dave Coulter and Damian Owens are big time gun collectors. Douglas Smith, you're a pussy. I have no firearms, but I can assure you that I will shatter your ugly fat cheese whiz Velveeta face if you ever met me up here in northeastern New Jersey. Douglas Smith will be exposed, and you don't be surprised if you're not unemployed and you're not back in your hometown in Rhode Island as the town drunk. You would make a perfect town drunk because you got that fat cheese whiz looking face. You got a face. Actually, when you were born, the doctor, instead of slapping your ass, the doctor smacked your mother. Yeah, sure. Okay. You're a punk. I don't care if you're a Marine. I told my buddy, little Jimmy Pesto, who is a former, he's a retired Passaic County cop, okay, managing gentlemen's clubs. Somebody, I told him the story about you. He says, jarheads will go down fast when the right person connects with them. Yeah, sure. I don't even have to use a right hook. All I have to do is something else. I don't even need the right hook. Bring it on. Bergen County, northeastern New Jersey. Let's go. Douglas Smith. Okay, I'm gonna have a talk with Damian Owens to do the worst that he can possibly do to make your life a living hell, because he's an expert at what he does. You ever hear of the dark web, punk? You're a punk. You know, he found out that you are technically a criminal. You punk ass fuck. You're a criminal there, Douglas Smith. Yeah, Douglas Smith. That's enough. Yeah, Red Rooster's an alpha. Sure he is. So anyway, so much for the troll. Anyway, yeah, the guy is supposedly, he claims he's a government employee working for Homeland Security. He's from Rhode Island. He lives in a Washington, D.C. suburb, like it says up above, Virginia. He claims he works for the Department of Homeland Security, but why does he hack people and use their personal information and use so many aliases to harass people and everything? And as you can see, Damian Owens, we have his real name. He uses the name Red Rooster, but his real name is Douglas Smith. And he's so crazy. He has no fear of the ramifications of what someone can do to his life that has access to the dark web. And that he really is a criminal. So anyway, so that's it. There are sycophants. Oh, by the way, Douglas Smith is the administrator of a Facebook group, which is actually a dictatorship called Honest Craft Beer Reviews. Now, you can't be honest with Honest Craft Beer Reviews, because if you were honest, then they threaten to throw you out. Well, Douglas Smith threatens to throw you out of Honest Craft Beer Reviews. John Starodumsky started it, who was a friend of his from Rhode Island. I've been to Rhode Island, and there were very nice people there. So I'm very surprised that this lunatic cheese whiz douchebag is from Rhode Island. Hey, well, bring it on, Douglas. Doug. You know what Douglas is a Scottish name, meaning Doug ass, meaning that you bend over for a lot of dudes in Scotland, and they try to dig deep into your ass. That's what Doug ass. That's what it originates from. People that dig into your rectum. Oh, he's got tons of personal information on you, man. You don't care if you end up on the unemployment line where you rightfully belong. No, I want to see you as the town drunk in your hometown of Rhode Island. You get fired, and you lose your house. Here's my fantasy: you lose your house. You can't pay the mortgage, and if you have a significant other, she dumps you, and that's when you end up back in your hometown, and you become a town drunk, and you die of alcoholism. How is that, cheese whiz head? Velveeta head? Doug. You're a punk. You're a fat fuck. You're a fat fuck. You probably have a big beer belly too. Anyway, why am I banning him? Because he's a troll. He's a troll that likes to use aliases and harass people. He has nothing positive to contribute to social media whatsoever. He needs the Orkin man to exterminate him. So anyway, yeah, sure. If I put you in a crippling, a specific crippling hold, and I squeeze, and your neck pops, we'll see. So anyway, he's probably a fat fuck. For a man that loves Cheese Whiz and Velveeta that much and craft beer, he's probably a fat fuck. He's probably fatter than John Candy was when he was alive. God rest his soul. You know, but anyway, so we mentioned Fanatics, Sycophants, Pollyannas, religious zealot freaks, and now we got a new topic: internet trolls, people that don't really have a life. The internet troll. Jeff Zambello, you are a witness. The internet troll. Now, you notice he came back with another alias. He has a certain program where he can create aliases, but it's all originally the person known as Red Rooster, but his real name is Douglas Smith, and he lives in Virginia, suburb of Washington, D.C., supposedly has a federal job that doesn't care if he loses it, because he really wants to be a town drunk. And I wish he does. And I wish he gets cirrhosis of the liver when he becomes a town drunk. You know, all trolls really have no purpose in life except they're attention whores. Please pay attention to me. Love me, worship me. You know, like the Seinfeld episode. Remember with the superintendent? Now, there's his new alias. Doug Smith would destroy you. Yeah, sure. Sure you would. I'm waiting, buddy. Just like you had all those other aliases in the past. And you had an alias, call my old residence where I used to live. Oh, by the way, how's your Douglas Smith? How's your little girlfriend in Singapore? What the hell was her name? Kelly Chen. Did you bang her yet? No, I'm an alpha. I'm an alpha, man. I have a scratch. I have to scratch an itch in the middle of my forehead. Oh yeah. Oh, it's so itchy. I gotta scratch it. Oh yeah. Yeah, I know. You were a little cozy with her. I hope you two make a nice couple. If you're married, I hope she calls your house. Let's government job, making big money. All right, that sounds good to me. Eastern Bergen County, New Jersey, not far from NYC. Sugar babies. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're an alpha, and you're a stud too. Good for you. Well, you might just be an unemployed stud. You know it? You're that confident. Yeah, you're that confident. If you saw banging women, brawling. Oh, you're a brawler too? Sure. You're a brawler. Believe me, one iron fist to your face and it'll be all over. People like you need to be taken care of. And I know people. I know people with heavy duty connections, but I'm not going to call them. You're a punk, man. He can lift. Yeah, he lifts his balls off the toilet seat. He can lift a block of Velveeta or a can of Cheese Whiz. That he should really choke on it. Bergen County, New Jersey. You know where I'm from. Make love, not war. Make love, not war. Well, if you're married, I hope Kelly Chen calls your house. That'll be cool. I don't know anybody. Keep on thinking that I don't know anybody. You're probably like one of those government caseworkers that is on a power trip. You ever you know how some of those government people have no personality and they're just all around assholes because people go, let's say, to a government agency and they apply for something and they just act like douchebags because they know the other person needs something from them. That's you. Insecure. That's why you have aliases. That's why you're a troll on the internet. Douglas Smith. Wait until Damien hears that you're taking us very lightly. He's not going to be too happy to hear that. You got an enemy in Damien Owens. Oh, I'm a proud socialist, you capitalist motherfucker. I'm voting for Bernie Sanders, you piece of shit. I am voting for Bernie. And you know what? If Bernie gets in, maybe he'll find out that your job is obsolete and you'll be unemployed and on your way to be a drunk in Long Island, in Rhode Island. Maybe you can get a job fishing for lobsters in that in Newport. What is that place called? Aquidneck? Aquidneck? I know Aquidneck. Is a restaurant on a pier. I know Newport. You piece of shit. That's the dude that's got a like Professor David Coulter. He has a big gun collection. That's why you never met. You never physically wanted to meet David Coulter because you're afraid. And you will be afraid of Damian Owens too. You're worth. How do you get 10 million working for supposedly, that's what you say, Department of Homeland Security? Oh, no wonder. They're the biggest assholes around, taking babies away from brown-skinned mothers, bunch of racists. No wonder you work for that department. That's if you really do work for that department. You know Dr. Dave Coulter, Red Rooster, Douglas Smith. You know him. Jeff, you believe he's worth 10 million? If he's worth 10 million, would he be using aliases and trolling people like every day and running that dictatorship where he bullies poor Tom Mulvihill, the beer and whiskey whisperer, bullying him that he can't be on our shows after he asks me and Damien, could I be on your show? I would love to join you guys. I said, sure, you're more than welcome. This is the guy that threatens to throw him off Honest Craft Beer Reviews. Like it's so important to belong to that group. It is racism. It is racism. Hey, you people never, ever pick on European immigrants. That's for sure. You ever hear of patterns? You ever hear of logic? There's the pattern. Red Roosters. How did you make him? Oh, wait a minute. If Douglas Smith, aka Red Rooster, made that much money with just a government job, then maybe he made that money involved in underhanded shenanigans. Ill-gotten gains, Douglas Smith. Ill-gotten gains. Now we're finding out the truth. Damian Owens will dig out all of the real truth about Douglas Smith. Or should I say Bubba Smith? Oh, no, Bubba Smith was with the Baltimore Colts. You're funny. We're getting overcrowded. He's a funny guy. Yeah. So, yeah, ill-gotten gains, because on a rinky-dink government salary, you can't amass that much money. So you must have been involved in some shady shenanigans, possibly down near the border where you supposedly claim you used to work. Shenanigans. You should pay your fair share in taxes, you cheap bastard. Hey, are you one of? No, you can't be. Smith is an Anglo-Saxon name. You're not a member of the tribe. Oh, wait a minute. What? I don't have. Yeah, you're not a member of the tribe, are you? You can't be. Douglas Smith. You're too cheap to pay your fair share in taxes. Pay your taxes and shut your mouth. Where is he? Now that you could take that to the bank. He's not only a master corporate accountant. He was a lieutenant and a paratrooper. He was. I don't know about you. I only know what you claim. I don't have any evidence of your service record. And I could care less if you were a Marine. I really don't give a shit. I'm James P. Madonna, master of the freaking universe. How's that sound? You like apples? Well, how do you like them apples? Racist. What? Master of the universe? Wait, what did I say? No, not racist. I'm fair. Like I said before, I was told by the state of New Jersey years and years ago that because I am a single Caucasian male with no children, that I do not qualify for many programs that a single woman of color, yeah, I'll add a little humor to it, a single woman of color with a child or more can apply for soup to nuts. She can apply for everything. Now, why is that? Now, if I was that far to the left, would I come out and admit this about people getting special treatment in the United States as opposed to, let's say us white guys? Well, tribe, beep, 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 like, oi vey, oi kavolt, oi, ooh, ooh, the people that, ooh, you know what I mean. Typical racist progressive. Well, no, I'm just telling no, we're not. How could we be racist progressives? No, I'm just telling the truth. That's what they told me, because you are Caucasian, male, American, without children, without dependents, you cannot apply for the entrepreneurial startup cash to start a business. You cannot apply. You only are entitled to a $4,000 to go back to school and no more, not a penny more. I'm just being honest with you. They said if you are single, woman of color with a child or more, you can apply for everything that's available. Well, everybody needs help these days, and more or less. But, when you tell somebody you can't apply for X, Y, and Z, but she, because she's not Caucasian, can apply for the whole alphabet, how does that sound to you? Doesn't sound like equality to me, right? I'm not getting it. I didn't say nothing about you. Yeah, but I'm not looking at the fact that he's Bernie Sanders is a Jew from Brooklyn. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at what he's done in the entire 40 years of his political career, and how he's a man of integrity. He sticks to the same thing. He doesn't flip-flop like the other politicians. He doesn't kiss ass of the top 2%. He doesn't owe the fat cats any favors. I'm looking at other things. I mean, I'm not a fanatic like the theme of the show says. You know what I mean? I look at what the person is in reality. So, I mean, They could be. Look, we had Barack Obama. He was a corporatist. Joe Biden is a corporatist. Amy Klobuchar, Pete Buttigieg, corporatist. Cory Booker, he was a lousy mayor of Newark, New Jersey. He didn't do shit for Newark. You know what he did? He had a private meeting with Chris Christie. And then after his meeting with Chris Christie, he started closing down many public schools in the city of Newark. Does that sound like a progressive to you? Mike Bloomberg, why is he in the race? He's doing, he's off, he's like non-existent when it comes to the polls, practically. He's like, it's a waste. He's wasting his money. I don't trust any CEO or any wealthy person that runs for any political office, because they have a motive of greed behind what they do. They're really very selfish. So they're not going to work for the 98%. They're not going to do anything for the lower 98%. So I don't trust Mike Bloomberg, even if he was doing moderately well in the polls. Of course, Joe Biden. You talking about creepy, touchy-feely Joe Biden? Yeah, of course. Him and his son. What was his son's name? Hunter Biden, or whatever. Yeah, no, he's big time corporatist. What about that? What was that law that Obama passed? The Patriot Act, where it kind of like took away some of your First Amendment rights and maybe more. No, he was there. They're all on the take, except for Bernie Sanders. To be honest with you, the rest of them are all on the take. I'm not a fan of Joe Biden. I hate Amy Klobuchar. She's got this shaky nasal voice. And, she's a feminazi, number one. Man-hating feminist. Her and the gooseneck, fake, phony, fraud, Pocahontas, Native American, Elizabeth Warren, the both of them making a big stink, or mostly Warren, about Bernie Sanders supposedly saying a woman can't win. The truth is, society is not ready yet for a woman to actually be elected president. Donald Trump would eat her up alive. Donald Trump would destroy Elizabeth Warren in a debate, or Amy Klobuchar. Really, I mean, it's not their time yet. Plus, women think too much with emotion. Men think with logic. I know. Well, that scrawny bucktooth, what's his name? Tom Perez. He's just like Deborah Wasser-Cunt Schitz in 2016. They're all corporate whores. Tom Perez and the DNC will attempt once again to sabotage Bernie Sanders and screw him over. This is why I'm all for a third progressive People's Party, a third party that accepts no contributions from the rich, only from regular folks. Amy Kilbasa, because she needs a kielbasa up her twat, thinks she's a tough guy in panties. You're right. Yeah, she blatantly lied about Bernie Sanders' healthcare plan today. It was a ridiculous lie. And she really is annoying. And she's very obnoxious. Like watching Oprah Winfrey or The View. The fat old feminist. When a woman gets older, like all the dating and relationship coaches that are on YouTube now, like Coach Greg Adams, when a woman reaches her mid-30s, it's called hitting the wall. which means her sexual market value plummets once they reach a certain age. But they're delusional. They actually think they have the sexual market value of a woman in her 20s. So, they pile on the cosmetics and they get the hoochie clothes and they start making nitpicky demands of men like they're 21 years old again or whatever, 25. Bloomberg has like Ross Perot, he has a Napoleonic complex, the late Ross Perot. He's short and he's probably bored, the poor guy. He's, he could do other things, but he's really, he's doing terribly in the polls. He's almost like not even existing in the polls. So he's wasting his money. But what was I saying before about, not Bloomberg, feminism. Yes, feminism is the man-hating feminists, which are lesbians, they want to sabotage all heterosexual relationships completely. And their agenda is power. And they will do what they can to put a woman everywhere in authority. That's why they're crying, there's not enough women in Congress. But now there is many women in Congress. There's not enough women senators. There's not enough women. What are you talking about? Every time I see a commercial, they're interviewing like an editor of a magazine. It happens to be female. They're always interviewing CEOs that are females. Always. And a lot of these women are making damn good money. They're not necessarily underpaid. Maybe low-end jobs, they're making 75 cents on a dollar. Oh, thank you, Doug. Jeff Zambello says, James, tell Doug how these old bags on dating sites want men to be established with money so they can take care of other people's children. Yeah, if you go on a dating app like Tinder, and I hate to say it, but I like to follow patterns. Quite a bit of younger generation, like women of color, say in the first sentence of their profile, I want a sugar daddy that will spoil me and take care of me and show me the finer things of life. But no hookups. No hookups. I said, do you think a rich older man who is established is that stupid and foolish? Nothing in life is free. Now, the older women, it's like Herman Munster when he used to look in the mirror and say, you handsome devil, you. And the mirror would crack, if you're a fan of the Munsters. Yeah, they're delusional. And they have a long list of demands on their dating profiles. And they want, the women usually like to say, I want to be courted the old-fashioned way, like a lady. I want to be treated like a lady and courted. That means they want a beta sucker to pay for everything and entertain them. And if they have someone else's young children, they want you to be the instant daddy to their little monsters. First of all, they're not your kids. If you have a problem getting money, go after the old man. Go after the children's father. Another scam, talk about the dinner and drink whores. That's a scam. Another scam women pull is getting some established, wealthy older man to pay off their student loan. Now, first of all, like Coach Greg Adams says, why in the hell do these women pick skills that are not marketable in the job market? They go to college and they pick these unimportant, ridiculous occupations to study for, where they know when they graduate, they're not going to be getting an entry-level job anytime soon, if ever. So they pick these stupid courses, and student loan is astronomical. and now they're in debt, and now they want some established older man to rescue them. Like when they say the word chivalry, gentleman, what they really mean is a sucker. Oh yeah, the single mom scams. Oh yeah, of course they they're looking for a quick, easy safety net. And but the funny part is they think that older men with money are fools and naive. They think that they're going to come along as a woman that is post-war. After a woman hits the wall, she's post-war. She's post-war. She's older. She has children that are under 18 from another man, of course, and she's got tons of makeup on, and of course, you don't get to see her yet, what she really looks like without her makeup. If you meet her in a nightclub, the lighting is dim, so you're really, and you have a few drinks in you, and what's that song? The women look better at closing time. So anyway, you don't know what you're getting into, but these women are delusional about their sexual market value. And they want a man to rescue them, but it has to be an established man. Like they think these businessmen and these successful men are stupid because no hookups. Of course, you have to be a hookup. You think they're going to entertain your sorry ass and they're going to wine and dine you? Yeah, that's another thing. They want the finer things in life, including fine dining and wine. What is it with women today and fine wine? They're always mentioning fine wine and dining. Like, you ever see the average woman? They're obese. They don't look like they're missing too many meals. They got an obsession with dinner and wine. Oh yeah, no, I'm red pill. I'm red pill. Not just because the background's red. Everybody hates us because they will never have muscles and brains like us. Well, it's more or less they're a feminist. There's a good chance they're bisexual or lesbian, and there's penis envy, and they're envious of the old Rocky Mountain oysters, the old the go gonads, and that's the deal. But what I can't understand is talking about let's say transgender. I can't understand why the transgender would want to, and I cringe when I think about it, have their male genitalia removed and transformed, manufactured into a vagina. Why can't they just, if they're transgender, just remain transgender? Because believe it or not, there are fetishes out there where some guys like that. Like some guys like a hairy bush, hairy armpits. Some guys like obese women, what they call those chubby chasers. Some guys like feet. Some guys have a foot fetish. Now, I'm not going to get into this because I'm supposed to be doing a live show with Damian Owens in the very near future about sexual fetishes. It's going to be all about fetishes. Nothing intelligent, scientific, political. It's going to be all sexual fetishes. And it will be pretty uncensored, risque, no holds barred banter about that. All right. Jeff Sambello says, only camel toes with odor. Yikes. Yee, camel toes with odor. The camel toe, if a woman wears the spandex yoga pants The camel toe is really all about cock teasing. They want attention. So generally, they're all show or no go. So they'll wear the tight spandex, 1 or 2 sizes smaller than what they should be wearing. So they got the ass crack going, swamp ass crack, and the camel toe simultaneously. And I read a book one time called, it was a psychological book. It was fascinating. Jeff Zambello. It was called Why I Am Afraid to Tell You Who I Am. And one of the personality traits, one of the characters, one of the roles that are played by people, in this case women, is that the women that dress like they're sluts, they're not. They don't do anything. Usually the women that are dressed normally, if they're a nymphomaniac or a slut, then they really are. But the women that have everything hanging out, they got the cut on their jeans where their ass is, their ass is showing, their cleavage is showing. Usually those girls are just teasers, and what they want is attention because they didn't get love growing up from their parents. So they're seeking attention in other ways. But unfortunately, it's ungratifying attention because the attention is negative. And they're not going to get any love from these men if they're dressed like a whore. So they try to compensate for the lack of love they got growing up. So it was an interesting book. It's still around, I think. It's an old one though. Why I Am Afraid to Tell You Who I Am. Camel toes want my money. Yes, only camel toes. Camel toes, yeah, they want to be entertained. Well, what they are is users. And then you know what they tell you? If you call them out as being users for being gold diggers, right? They'll turn around and they'll say, well, men have been using us right along for sex. Yeah, but 2 wrongs don't make a right. If somebody must be giving up the chocha, they must be giving up something a little too soon. So if they're complaining that men have used us for sex, well, why are they jumping in the sack so soon? If they're complaining that the guys after sexual intercourse they end up leaving them and they don't contact them anymore, and then they feel used, well, you shouldn't have gave it up that quick. You got drunk, or alcohol is supposed to be the best aphrodisiac for a woman. So anyway, it is what do we got here? 9:38 p.m. Eastern time. So we're gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna blow the bosun's whistle that I happened to get at Newport, Rhode Island, back in the late 1980s, I think. Arr! You have just departed our Shootin' the Shit, uncensored, no rules pirate ship. Bye-bye. And good night, Jeff Zambello, Commodore Jeff Zambello. I will talk to you soon. And even good night to Douglas Smith.